You may recall that last week we looked at some walking tanks, and the only reason we looked at some walking tanks is because someone suggested that we actually look at the T'au proxies that Cromlech / Bits of War do, and we got sidetracked. But it's okay, because last time we streamed, we actually took a look at what we were supposed to originally. Before we get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to new patrons Chris Lupton and Lol Kittens, and new YouTube members Idiotic Synergy and Duke of Petchington. Thank you for the support and thank you for joining our weird little club. Now on to some T'au proxies that for the most part I quite liked, apart from the ones that I really didn't like. I'm actually really excited about this. I liked those walking tanks. We originally got onto Cromlech and Bits of War because someone suggested looking at their T'au proxy vehicles, which just at a glance looked fantastic. And then that turned into us seeing those walking tanks, which was the subject of like part of Monday's stream and then its own video that I cut out. And so today we're going to be having a look at the actual T'au stuff that they've got, because my gut instinct is that it looks fantastic. So we're going to look at that. That is mad. These look a lot more like, I don't want to say chaos. I don't know if that's the right phrase. They seem a bit more like rough and ready than the GW T'au stuff. They don't seem quite as sleek and as refined in some respects. In some respects they are. Like when you look at like the kind of propulsion units they've got along the sides, and I mean that sort of missile wing on top is basically just straight off. I forget what the name of the T'au vehicle is. It's not the Hammerhead, it's the other one. Is it the Skyray Missile Defense Gunship? Is that what it was called? I think it might be something like that. It basically looks like that. But the overall shape of the body is way more like, it's just so much more chunky. It's so much more chunky and like thick. I think that's the only way to describe it. It's just, it just has like a much more up-armoured, like heavy feel to it. It's reminding me, actually, it's really reminding me. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Just as I was about to say, it reminds me of the ships from the Matrix. You're straight in there. Yes, it really does remind me of that as well. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess, right? It's definitely a mess. But I really like it. It would work better without the big chunky bits hanging down, like where the cursor is, where those are. That to me doesn't work. That looks way off. Like it's too kind of protruded. It just sticks down way too far. It looks goofy. The ones on the side work. The ones on the bottom need to be like against the hull instead of sticking out all over the shop. For my money, anyway. That's. I'm not sure about that. The rest of it, I actually really like. It is definitely way more chunky. It's nowhere near as sleek as the rest of the T'au stuff. The rest of the T'au stuff. The stuff that Games Workshop have made for T'au, obviously. It's definitely got a very different feel to it in just like the body shape. But I don't know. I quite like how different that is. I really like proxies that aren't just trying to be the thing that they are. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like it when it's something different. When it looks something like its own thing with the right stylings. I prefer that over... Actually, no, that's a lie. I say that. That STL maker who's done like a whole range of T'au, which are basically T'au but cooler, those I really like. So I tell a lie. In some situations, it looks a bit rough and a bit kind of cheap knockoff. In other situations, someone takes what Games Workshop does and absolutely just does a better job of it. And in that, is it Piper Makes? I think it's called. Like their stuff is insanely good because it looks better than what Games Workshop have done for a lot of it. This doesn't look better necessarily. This just looks different, which I don't know. I quite like things that just look different, as you can tell from the fact that my Mega Gargant army are nothing like actual Mega Gargants. This one I think works the best with the giant gun. This one definitely looks the best. This one for sure looks the best. Yeah, I like this one a lot more than the others. So for me, right, the Ghost Shark just looks a little bit too chaotic. There's just too much going on in terms of the big wings. I get as a transport it needs to not be absolutely plastered in weapons or anything, but at the same time, that big central fin, I don't know that it adds a huge amount to it. It just feels kind of like it's there for the sake of it. And, I mean, you could argue that for all of the fins in a way, but I feel like the War Mantis works okay. The War Mantis works okay. The placement of that, like, missile pod section on the top is a bit weird, but it is kind of cool, and it is very different to what you'd expect from just your standard T'au stuff from Games Workshop. So that's like, it's an interesting change that I think works all right. It still actually is relatively far. Oh, interesting. Hang on. Wait a minute. So you can put it either way, because if you look there on that image, it's at the front. That's interesting. So it's at the front of the ship on the first image, and then if you go to that image, the side view, they've moved it round so that it's further towards the back. So actually that is just a personal taste thing by the look of things. You can do it either way, whichever way you want. I mean, I like that being the option, to be honest. I like that being the option. That's cool. This one is the best one, though. This looks fantastic. It looks like some sort of hover train with a gigantic cannon on it, and I'm all about it. I'm all about that. Still not sure about the ones on the bottom of it. Still not sure about that, but I don't know. The overall layout of that one is really cool. That's really interesting. I like that a lot. It's so different. I think that's why I like it so much. That's definitely got a big part of it. Okay, so what else have we got? We've got the Lanternfish Bomber. That is a great name. The Angel Shark just looks like some sort of traditional UFO gone weird. So what is that taking the place of? Is that taking the place of, like, what? I'm really trying to work out what that would be a proxy for. The Remora, is it the Remora drone? Is that what that would be, do you think? I mean, I quite like it, to be honest. It is kind of cool. It is kind of cool. But yeah, I'm just trying to work out what you'd switch out for that. It's very chunky. It's like, it's weirdly boxy, even though it's also, like, very rounded. It doesn't look particularly aerodynamic, but I don't know, at the same time, I quite like it. Not very complicated either. That is a big old... that's a big block of resin, that central bit, isn't it? Jesus. You could kill someone with that. Okay, so we've also got the Lanternfish and the Tide Line. So we've got the Lanternfish and Tide Line. These are... these are so chunky. They're so chunky. Look at that. I mean, I quite like the style of it. It's very, like... it almost feels very low tech for T'au. Pretty sizable as well. It is pretty cool though. It is pretty cool. I do like that. I do like the way they've done the, like, propulsion units at the back and the sides. Those look really cool. It is definitely, the wings are so, like, they're so, like, heavy looking. They're, like, sort of so rounded out. I like it. I do like it, but it's just so... it's so thick. It's just so thick. Massively thick. I mean, again, it's very... like, I'd argue that it's pretty different to Games Workshop's offerings, but it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Let's start with the little lads first. Let's start with the little fellas. I actually really like this. I actually really like them. They're so, like... weirdly cute. I don't know why they're reading as cute to me, but they look like little tadpoles. That's what it is. They look like little flat-faced tadpoles. Amazing. Oh wow. Present as much of yourself to the enemy as physically possible. It's an interesting approach, but you know what? That's fine. The Blackfish drones are interesting as well. The design of them, it's actually kind of hard to get a proper read on the design of them. Some of the painting is kind of obscuring the details of it. It's really cool that they've painted them like cloaking and turning into like a stone effect, but it also makes it a little tricky to fully see what's going on with the model. But I think they look okay. They do look pretty interesting. They're not quite as out and out like cute as the other ones, but I don't know, that's probably a good thing, right? You don't want too much cute. They definitely do feel like lower tech in some cases. Just a little bit. Yeah, I quite like those. I quite like them. We've also got the emergency drone team, which, I mean, if we thought the rest of these looked relatively low tech in comparison, these look quite a bit more. I mean, big old slab, big old angular slab with some lenses on the front and some guns stuck to the side. These look way less technical. These are weird because I kind of like them, but at the same time, they don't fully... I suppose they match some of the aircraft. They don't match the big circular aircraft. They match the kind of more chunky ones that we saw a bit more. But for some reason, these are just way more square, like rectangular, I guess, than any of the others. I don't know. It feels a little bit like there isn't... I don't know. I think I like them, but they're so boxy. They're so boxy. They are cool, though. They're like 30... Yeah, they're like 30k T'au. That's actually... That's a really good description, they are. Yeah, I think I'm still liking them. Stick legs on them, you'll have the Admeg Chicken Walker. Chicken Walker. I can't talk. Even by my standards, it's not good today. Yeah, and you know what? They're growing on me. The more I look at them, the more they're growing on me. Just, oh, so boxy. And then there's the Barrage Battle Drone team. What game am I thinking of that these look like they're out of? There is a game that these are really, really reminding me of, and I can't remember. It's not Planet. Is it Planet? No, Planetary Annihilation. No, Supreme Commander. Maybe. Is there something in Supreme Commander that looks like this? Or Supreme Commander 2, whichever. Or is it that I'm thinking of the box, the standing box? What is it? Is it TARS? TARS from Interstellar. What am I thinking of? Or Portal. Portal also works, yeah. Metal Gear, Horizon Zero Dawn. Okay, basically what we're pretty much, they resemble a lot of things because a lot of sci-fi stuff has very similar robots, I think is what we've just worked out. I think we've just worked that out. But actually, Portal Sentry Gun is pretty spot on. Especially the one bottom right, because you can only see 3 legs. It's making me think of that kind of Portal turret stance. Cybran, yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm not actually... I'm not sure about some bits of these. The front is fine. The guns look fine. They look a little bit weirdly low detail from the front. Like, they almost look at the wrong scale. They almost look like they're the wrong scale. It's like there just isn't quite enough detail going on the front. And the back of them... Okay, show us the back again. I don't like the back of these at all. The back looks like we didn't know what to do, so let's just stick a load of stuff in there. I don't know how else to put it, but that particular pattern, it feels like generic sci-fi. Like where they've just got a bunch of different squares and rectangles of like different lengths and heights, and it just doesn't really look like anything. It just sort of looks like they needed to put something there, and instead of putting things like cables or exhaust vents or things that made sense with the front of these, instead there's just stuff. It's just generic stuff. What do we put in the back of this? We need to put some stuff in there. Okay, but what? Well, I don't know. We could just like make it so that there's just irregular rectangular shapes. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do that. Well, it just doesn't look good. It looks weirdly lazy and half finished. And the scale does look really off. Why does the scale look off? They look Battletech scale. You know what? They actually do. Yeah, you're right. They look Battletech scale. They just look like they're at the wrong scale for the rest of the for the rest of the army, which is weird. It's like they've been done in isolation. The drones have got more detail on them from the front and the back. The new vehicles have got more detail, despite being bigger and smoother. The other boxes have got a bit more detail, and they're a bit more coherent. They also don't have whatever's going on at the back of these. These are a bit of a miss for me. These are a bit of a miss. I'm not convinced. Not convinced of these ones, which is a shame, because the rest of them actually, you know, overall, the Blackfish drones look decent. The emergency drones, I mean, they've grown on me. They're alright. The tadpoles, brilliant. We've got various types of tadpole, obviously. The angel shark I really like. And the vehicles, for the most part, are really, really cool. But, these, yeah, just seems too smooth. Almost like too low res. Weird. Mostly fine. Mostly fine. There you go. I suspect that this is probably going to be one of those Marmite ones where some of you absolutely love the different take on the kind of T'au style that Bits of War have done, and some of you will probably absolutely hate it. I'd be super curious to see which way it falls, which side gets the most percentage, so to speak. I have to admit that for the most part, I did like them quite a lot, but those like weird sort of four-legged box things were not to my taste at all. But the question is, what did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things. Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there is an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.